There's a moment we all recognize you sit down to begin something important, and suddenly your brain turns into a magician. Every tiny distraction becomes fascinating. Every unimportant task becomes urgent. And the thing you meant to start slowly drifts further and further away. It feels irrational. It feels frustrating. But it also feels strangely natural, as if your mind is pulling you somewhere else without asking what you actually want. This is procrastination, not laziness, not weakness. A psychological reflex designed to protect you from discomfort, uncertainty, and the fear of not being good enough. Today we're going to explore what procrastination really is, why your brain would rather avoid a task than face a moment of emotional tension, and how small, gentle strategies can help you break the cycle. No productivity cliches, no hustle talk, just a clear path from self-blame to self-understanding. Let's begin. There's a strange moment almost everyone knows too well. You sit down to start a task. You know exactly what you need to do. You understand why it matters. You even want the result. And yet, you don't start. Instead, you check your phone. You adjust your chair. You get a drink of water you don't really need. You tell yourself you'll start in 5 minutes, or 10, or later tonight. And somehow, the simple act of beginning feels heavier than the task itself. This is procrastination, one of the most confusing habits in the human mind, because it feels like sabotage, but it's actually a form of emotional protection. To understand procrastination, we're going to peel back the layers and look at what's really happening in your brain when you delay. We'll explore why your mind chooses comfort over progress, how the avoidance loop traps you, and what simple scientific strategies can break the cycle. Let's begin. What procrastination really is. Procrastination isn't about time management. If it were a better calendar, would solve everything. It's about emotion. Procrastination is the act of choosing short-term mood repair over long-term goals. Your brain sees a task that feels difficult, uncertain, boring, or heavy, and it wants to escape from that feeling. Not the task, the feeling. So it pushes you toward something easier. Something that gives a quick hit of relief or pleasure. Checking messages, scrolling, watching something, tidying your desk, even daydreaming. The task hasn't changed, but your emotional state has. And that tiny shift is enough to delay your entire life by hours, days, or even years. Why your brain prefers delaying. To understand procrastination, you need to understand two competing forces inside your mind. One part of your brain wants long-term achievement. It thinks about the future. It understands consequences. It sees the value of finishing what you start. This is your rational planning brain, sometimes called the adult brain. But another part of your brain is wired for immediate comfort. It avoids discomfort. It avoids risk. It avoids the possibility of failure. It wants easy dopamine and quick rewards. This is your emotional instinctive system, the lizard brain. Procrastination happens when your lizard brain wins. When the discomfort of starting feels bigger than the reward of finishing. When the present moment feels more important than the future. It's not laziness, it's a survival instinct misapplied to modern life. The avoidance loop. How procrastination feeds itself. The moment a task appears, your brain experiences a small spike of discomfort, uncertainty, effort, fear of doing it wrong, fear of not knowing where to start. Your lizard brain wants relief from that discomfort, so it suggests something easy, a quick distraction. And when you take that distraction, you feel better for a moment. That tiny emotional relief becomes a reward. Your brain learns. When I avoid this task, I feel better. So the next time the task appears, the habit is stronger. Avoidance, relief, repeat. This creates the procrastination loop task. Discomfort, escape, temporary relief, guilt, more discomfort, more escape. It is a self-reinforcing cycle. The longer you delay, the harder the task feels. The harder it feels, the more you avoid it. The more you avoid it, the worse you feel. Procrastination isn't a failure of discipline. It's a failure of emotional regulation. Why certain tasks trigger procrastination. Harder, not every task triggers the avoidance loop. Some tasks feel easy to start, others feel impossible. Here are the most common emotional triggers. 1. Fear of failure. If the task matters, failing feels painful. So your brain avoids starting because you can't fail at something you haven't begun. 2. Fear of not being perfect. If you think the result must be flawless, the pressure becomes paralyzing. 3. Fear of uncertainty. When you're not sure how to do something, the task feels unsafe. 4. Too many choices. If you don't know where to start, you start nowhere. 5. Emotional overload. Life stress, low mood, or exhaustion can make even small tasks feel enormous. None of these are about ability. They're about emotion. What your brain is doing during procrastination. Inside your mind, something interesting happens. Your future self becomes faint, almost invisible. Your present self takes full control. Future consequences lose their weight. Present comfort becomes the priority. Your brain says, "This tiny discomfort is dangerous. Let's escape from it." But that danger is an illusion. The discomfort won't harm you. Starting won't harm you. But your brain reacts as if it will. Understanding this shifts the story. You're not fighting laziness. You're negotiating with a protective system that doesn't realize the threat is imaginary. The fix is how to break the loop scientifically. You can't beat procrastination with willpower alone, but you can outsmart it. Here are the simplest, most effective psychological fixes. 1. Make it smaller. Your brain resists big tasks, so don't give it a big task. Write a report into open the document. Then write one sentence. Then write another. Starting small bypasses the fear center in your brain. Small feels safe, and once you begin, momentum takes over. 2. Make it shorter. Tell your brain you'll work for just 2 minutes, or 5. This is the just start rule. Once you begin, your emotional resistance drops dramatically. Most of the pain of a task is in the starting, not the doing. 3. Make it easier. Reduce friction. Turn off notifications. Clear your workspace. Open only the tools you need. Make starting as simple as possible. Your brain avoids difficulty, even tiny difficulty. Remove those tiny obstacles and your brain stops fighting you. 4. Make it rewarding. Your brain loves dopamine. Use that. Give yourself a small reward after a work session, a stretch, a snack, a break. Something positive your brain can expect. You are training your mind to associate work with safety and satisfaction, not stress. Emotional reframing, the key skill. The most powerful fix for procrastination is not productivity hacks. It's emotional reframing. Change. I have to do this into I choose to do this. Change. This is overwhelming into this is one small step. Change. I don't feel ready into I don't need to feel ready to begin. Procrastination thrives on emotional pressure. It weakens when the emotions soften. When the task feels less scary, even slightly, your brain stops avoiding it. The moment everything changes. The moment you realize procrastination isn't laziness, but emotional avoidance, everything shifts. You stop blaming yourself. You stop calling yourself undisciplined. You stop fighting your brain as an enemy. Instead, you begin working with it, understanding it, calming it, guiding it towards slow, steady progress. And something beautiful happens. Tasks that once felt impossible start to feel manageable. Not because the tasks changed, but because your relationship with discomfort changed. Final insight. Procrastination isn't a character flaw. It's a misunderstanding between you and your brain. Your brain is trying to protect you from discomfort it shouldn't fear. It chooses short-term relief over long-term growth, not because it hates progress, but because it's wired for safety. But you can teach it a new way, a gentler way, A way where starting is small, pressure is low, and progress is possible. When you understand the psychology behind procrastination, you stop wrestling with yourself. You stop waiting to feel ready. And you begin imperfectly, quietly, but powerfully. In the end, you don't conquer procrastination by becoming tougher. You conquer it by becoming kinder to yourself. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay patient, stay curious, and take the smallest step you can. Procrastination feels like the enemy, but it's actually a messenger. A signal from a part of your brain that's scared of discomfort and trying to keep you safe, even when that protection holds you back. Once you understand the emotional logic behind delay, everything changes. You stop treating procrastination as a personal failure. You stop fighting yourself. You stop waiting for motivation to magically appear. Instead, you learn to begin gently to shrink tasks until they feel safe and to replace pressure with curiosity. And suddenly the future you've been postponing starts moving toward you again, one small step at a time. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay kind to your mind. Stay patient with your progress. And remember, you only need to start small, not perfect.